Before you continue watching, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who's trapped in the endless cycle of modern work. Because what I'm about to reveal will shake the very foundation of how you see your professional life. When did you last feel truly alive at work? Not productive, not efficient, not successful, but genuinely alive. If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone. You're experiencing what Korean-German philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls the systematic destruction of the human soul through modern labor. And the most terrifying part? We're doing it to ourselves. Right now, as you're watching this, millions of people are sitting in offices, staring at screens, convinced they're building something meaningful. They check emails at midnight, skip lunch breaks, and feel guilty for taking vacations. They've transformed themselves into what Han calls entrepreneurs of their own souls. And they don't even realize they're slowly dying inside. Think about your last workday. How many times did you check your phone for work messages? How many hours did you actually work versus how many hours you spent thinking about work? If you're honest, the boundary disappeared long ago. You don't just go to work anymore. You carry work inside you like a virus that never stops replicating. Han reveals something profound. We're living in what he calls the burnout society. But this isn't the burnout your grandfather experienced after 40 years in a factory. This is existential burnout, a deeper erosion of what makes us human. We've become so obsessed with optimizing ourselves, with being productive every waking moment, that we've forgotten how to simply exist. Look around you. Everyone is busy. Everyone is stressed. Everyone is grinding. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. "I'm so busy" has become our default response to any conversation. But busy doing what? Creating what? Building toward what end? Most of us can't answer these questions because we've lost touch with the deeper purpose of human activity. The modern workplace promised us freedom. Work from anywhere. Be your own boss. Follow your passion. But Han exposes this as the greatest deception of our time. We haven't gained freedom. We've become more enslaved than any generation before us. The slave owner used to provide food and shelter and had a vested interest in our survival. Now, we exploit ourselves more efficiently than any external force ever could. You wake up thinking about work. You fall asleep thinking about work. Your dreams are filled with deadlines and meetings. You've internalized the voice of capitalism so completely that you can't distinguish between your authentic desires and the demands of economic productivity. When was the last time you had a thought that wasn't somehow related to your professional identity or economic value? This isn't just about having a demanding job. This is about the fundamental transformation of human consciousness. We've turned ourselves into what Han calls achievement subjects. We believe that our worth as human beings is directly tied to our output, our efficiency, our ability to generate measurable results. We've commodified our very souls. Consider this. When you meet someone new, what's the first question you ask? What do you do? Not who are you, or what brings you joy, but what productive function you serve in the economic machine. We've reduced human identity to job titles and LinkedIn profiles. We've forgotten that we are complex, multifaceted beings with inner lives that extend far beyond our professional utility. The technology that was supposed to liberate us has become our digital prison. Your smartphone isn't a communication device. It's a tracking collar that ensures you're never truly off work. Every notification is a command. Every email is a demand for immediate attention. You think you're using technology, but technology is using you to extract value from every moment of your existence. Han argues that we're experiencing something unprecedented in human history, the elimination of contemplative time. Our ancestors had periods of rest, reflection, and genuine leisure. They understood the importance of what he calls lingering. But we've optimized away every moment of potential stillness. We fill every gap with content consumption, every silence with stimulation. We've become afraid of our own thoughts. Remember being a child and staring at clouds, or lying in grass just to feel the earth beneath your back? That wasn't laziness. That was your soul recognizing its need for non-productive existence. But somewhere along the way, we learned to feel guilty about these moments. We were taught that time not spent producing is time wasted. We internalized the belief that we must always be becoming more, achieving more, optimizing more. The tragedy is that this relentless self-optimization is making us less human, not more. We've lost the ability to appreciate beauty that serves no purpose, to engage in activities that generate no measurable outcome, to simply be present without an agenda. We've forgotten that the most profound human experiences happen in the spaces between productivity. Your anxiety isn't a personal failing. It's a rational response to an irrational system. Your depression isn't a chemical imbalance. It's your soul rebelling against its own commodification. Your inability to focus isn't a character flaw. It's the natural result of being constantly interrupted by the demands of digital capitalism. You're not broken. The system is broken and it's breaking you. But here's what Han understands that most productivity gurus miss. The solution isn't better time management or more efficient workflows. The solution is remembering what it means to be human beyond our economic function. It's about reclaiming the parts of ourselves that can't be quantified, optimized, or sold. Han introduces us to a concept that will change how you see everything. The difference between tiredness and exhaustion. When you're tired after a meaningful day, your body rests and your spirit regenerates. But when you're exhausted from the modern work machine, something deeper breaks down. This isn't physical fatigue. It's what he calls soul fatigue, a spiritual emptiness that no amount of sleep can cure. You've felt this, haven't you? That hollow sensation after completing another project that felt meaningless, after attending another meeting that could have been an email, after spending another day contributing to something you don't believe in. This isn't just career dissatisfaction. It's existential crisis disguised as professional burnout. The most insidious part of our current predicament is that we've been convinced this is freedom. Be your own boss, they said. Follow your passion, they promised. Turn your hobby into a hustle, they encouraged. But Han reveals the dark truth. We've simply internalized our own oppression. The slave driver isn't standing over us with a whip. The slave driver lives inside our heads, and it never stops demanding more. Think about your social media presence. Even your personal life has become a performance, a brand, a productivity showcase. Your vacation photos aren't just memories. They're content. Your hobbies aren't just enjoyment. They're potential side hustles. Your relationships aren't just connections. They're networking opportunities. We've turned our entire existence into a resume, and we wonder why we feel empty. This is what Han calls the achievement society. And it's more brutal than any external dictatorship because it makes us complicit in our own exploitation. You don't need a boss watching over you when you've internalized the boss's voice so completely that you police yourself more efficiently than any external authority ever could. You've become both the prisoner and the guard in your own psychological jail. The modern workplace doesn't just want your 8 hours. It wants your dreams, your creativity, your authentic self. It wants you to bring your whole self to work, which sounds empowering until you realize it means your whole self becomes available for exploitation. There's nowhere left to hide, no part of your identity that remains sacred or separate from economic value. You check your email before you brush your teeth. You think about work problems in the shower. You feel guilty for watching a movie without also doing something productive. You've absorbed the logic of capitalism so completely that leisure feels like theft, rest feels like laziness, and joy that serves no purpose feels like a waste of time. Han points out something profound about our relationship with technology. We think we're more connected than ever, but we're actually experiencing unprecedented levels of isolation. Your hundreds of LinkedIn connections don't know who you really are beneath your professional persona. Your thousands of social media followers have never seen you cry, never witnessed your moments of genuine vulnerability or wonder. The digital tools that promised to make work easier have instead made work inescapable. Your laptop isn't just a work device. It's a portal that allows work to invade every space in your life. Your home office isn't just a workspace. It's evidence that the boundary between personal life and professional obligation has completely dissolved. But perhaps the most tragic loss is our relationship with time itself. We've forgotten that time has different qualities, different textures, different meanings. There's productive time and contemplative time, urgent time and eternal time, clock time and soul time. We've collapsed all of these into one homogeneous flow of measurable, optimizable, monetizable moments. When did you last experience what Han calls deep time? Those moments when you're so absorbed in something meaningful that you lose track of the clock, when you're so present that past and future disappear, when you're so connected to what you're doing that the doing and the being become one. These experiences are becoming extinct in our hyper-scheduled, notification-interrupted, perpetually monitored existence. The achievement society has convinced us that we are limitless, that we can optimize our way to happiness, that there's always another level of success to reach. But Han reveals this as a cruel illusion. The promise of endless growth meets the reality of human limitations, and the collision creates the anxiety, depression, and existential emptiness that characterize our era. You're not failing because you can't keep up with the impossible demands of modern work culture. The culture is failing because it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature. We aren't machines to be optimized. We're complex beings who need rhythm, rest, meaning, connection, and space to simply exist without justification. The most revolutionary act in our hyperproductive world isn't working harder or finding better life hacks. It's remembering how to be useless, how to engage in activities that serve no purpose beyond their own intrinsic value. It's reclaiming your right to boredom, to contemplation, to moments of pure existence that can't be quantified or monetized. Look at how we've pathologized normal human experiences. Feeling sad sometimes isn't depression that needs to be optimized away. It's part of the full spectrum of human emotion. Wanting rest isn't laziness that needs to be overcome. It's your body and soul asking for what they need to regenerate. Questioning the meaning of your work isn't career confusion. It's your authentic self trying to break through the noise of cultural conditioning. Han suggests that we're living through the collapse of what he calls contemplative life. We've lost the ability to sit with ideas without immediately turning them into action items. We've forgotten how to think thoughts that don't lead to measurable outcomes. We've abandoned the practices that connect us to something larger than our individual productivity. The solution isn't another productivity system or wellness app. The solution is more radical. It's remembering that your value as a human being exists independently of your economic output. It's recognizing that the most important parts of life happen in the spaces between achievements. It's understanding that a life well lived includes substantial amounts of what our culture would consider wasted time. This is where Han's philosophy becomes not just critique but liberation. He shows us that the path back to our humanity requires what he calls idleness. Not laziness, but the profound act of existing without purpose, without optimization, without the constant pressure to become more than we are in this moment. You've been conditioned to feel guilty about this, but imagine defending your right to stare out a window without checking your phone. Imagine taking a walk without listening to a podcast, without tracking your steps, without turning it into content for your social media. Imagine having a conversation that serves no networking purpose, reading a book that won't advance your career, pursuing a hobby that will never become profitable. These aren't luxuries. They're necessities for a human soul that's been commodified and packaged for economic consumption. Your depression, your anxiety, your sense of emptiness, these aren't personal failings. They're your authentic self staging a revolt against its own imprisonment. The most powerful thing you can do right now is start small. Protect 1 hour of your day from productivity. Don't fill it with self-improvement or skill building. Just exist. Let your mind wander. Feel the texture of being alive without trying to optimize the experience. This is what Han calls vita contemplativa, the contemplative life that we've nearly forgotten how to live. Your worth isn't determined by your output. Your value isn't measured by your efficiency. Your humanity isn't contingent on your achievements. You are not a resource to be optimized, a machine to be fine-tuned, or a brand to be marketed. You are a conscious being having a temporary experience of existence, and that experience has intrinsic value that no economic system can quantify. The modern work machine will continue to demand your soul, but you don't have to give it. You can work without becoming your work. You can achieve without making achievement your identity. You can be productive without sacrificing your humanity to productivity. Start questioning everything. Why do you feel guilty for resting? Who taught you that your worth depends on being busy? What would happen if you stopped trying to optimize yourself and started accepting yourself? What would your life look like if you remembered that being human is enough? Han offers us a radical possibility. What if the meaning of life isn't found in achievement, but in the depth of our experience? What if success isn't measured by external validation, but by internal peace? What if the point isn't to become more, but to be more fully who we already are? Your soul isn't broken. It's just been buried under layers of cultural conditioning that tell you productivity is purpose. But beneath that conditioning, your authentic self is still there, waiting for you to remember that you existed before you had a job title, and you'll exist after your career ends. The revolution begins when you realize that your most radical act isn't working harder or achieving more. It's reclaiming your right to exist without justification. Your soul isn't for sale, no matter how convincingly the modern world tries to convince you otherwise. If this resonated with you, if you felt your authentic self stirring beneath the layers of professional conditioning, then I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel for more reflections that challenge the assumptions of our achievement-obsessed culture. Hit that like button to help others discover these ideas that could save their souls from the machinery of modern work. And explore our playlist of philosophical reflections that will help you remember what it means to be human in a world that wants to turn you into a resource. Remember, you are more than your productivity. Your soul is more valuable than your output, and your humanity is worth protecting, even if the whole world tells you otherwise.